We are back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Pre-Match Mooty. Nick, don't you want to do the thing that you do? Come on, Nick.
Mooty.
Remix in the house there, Mr. Nick Starthought. Yes, gentlemen and ladies, we have taken a while. Lots happened since we've been on. Stevie G's been sacked. We've got Mr. Good Evening. He's back in the Premier League. We've even got, Newcastle, Man United are now title contenders, apparently, along with Arsenal. Who would have thought? This world's definitely coming to an end. But we are going to be looking at the Champions League recap. We're going to see who the favourites are there. We're going to dive deeper and discuss Europe's hottest property, Jude Bellingham, provide updates on our respective teams and give our weekend predictions. And of course, right at the end, we're going to drop a little quick fire where we're going to discuss who we think is the best player in the world at the moment. And before we move on, we've got Mr. Wongadenga, the Denganator, in the top right-hand corner. We've got Selo Lolo Kale, a.k.a. Mr. Maguire. And then we've got Nick Bruce Stothard in the bottom there, the king of the north. And
that guy's so far gone from our club. You must call me Eddie Howe, bro.
Hey, guys.
This man changes allegiances. All his teams are doing all right now. And if you haven't done the right thing, don't forget to
subscribe, guys. As you can see, I'm wearing my Kaizer Chiefs colors, guys. You know, Kaizer Chiefs won. The nation is happy. What else did I do?
Dubious. Yeah, I don't know this guy.
There you go.
Goodness me.
But before we go into the local stuff, gentlemen, let's just kick it off. Champions League, UEFA Champions League recap. Wongadenga, what are your thoughts so far of the teams that have gone through? Of course,
I think
some of the big names, yeah.
Yeah, I think all the expected ones went through. I think the biggest upset was that maybe Barcelona should have gone through, and I think they rightfully didn't make it through. Then there was Juventus as well, Benfica playing well, and also I think they lost to Maccabi Haifa. Maccabi Haifa, for me, despite, I mean, look, they got clattered by the other teams, but I thought the way they played, I know Nick would call it mindless, but I mean they tried, you know, they tried to. I admired the fact that they actually tried, you know, to get the goals in, and it actually, I mean, at least one of their games came through, and they beat a Juventus, and I thought that was admirable. And I think they're pretty much happy, even though they did not probably get maybe a Europa spot. Probably what they were aiming for in the last day. But yeah, other than that, I think it will be a good round of 16. To be honest with you.
I think for me, I've been obviously, you know, I'm intrigued because you more than likely will see Newcastle United there next year, and it's giving me hope because if I'm honest with you,
no. Hang on, Nick. Hang on. This is Champions League talk. You're not there yet. It's not your time to bring in Newcastle in such conversations. Silo, is he not getting carried away here?
No, guys. You have to allow the man to dream. He was singing. He was singing "It's Coming Home" last year, and it didn't come home. So let him dream.
Guys, what we're talking about the Champions League. I'm talking about the Champions League. I'm saying that I've taken quite a keen notice or keen sort of interest in this competition, and for me, it proves that the drop off from the strong teams and the weak teams is massive, and I honestly think you could put 8 Premier League teams in the Champions League, and you'd probably have 5 or 6 qualifying. I'm telling you right now,
guys.
I think that's a fair assessment.
That's true.
No, I think it's fair, guys. But also, guys, I think sometimes as well, guys, we need to remember as well, guys, the groupings is also an important thing, guys. The group that you're put in also, obviously, guys, look at this group, right? Marseille, Frankfurt, Sporting, Spurs, guys. Then you look at the other group, Bayern, Inter, Barcelona, Victoria Pilsen, guys. Those 2 groups, guys, that is tough, guys. 3 actually good teams and a drop off offensively. And then there's 4 teams that are just 4 teams. You know what I mean? They beat each other. I'm telling you, those teams, no team was like left the group like 0 points in that group, guys. I looked at that group like, yeah, man, Spurs were actually lucky to be in this group, guys. If you put them in that Bayern group and swap them with Barcelona or swap them with Inter, I don't think they make it out. You know what I mean? I think the group
Yeah.
that you put in is obviously it is a determining
Look,
factor.
that's one
but
Yeah.
case, though. Settle. That's one situation. But I think what Nick's saying is saying overall, if we're looking at it, the Premier League obviously coming through, Germany as well. They also came through with 4 teams. So we've got
4
the
teams
German
as
league.
well.
We've got So we've got the English Premier League. We've got the
Italy-
German. Both
Italy
have 4
3.
teams come through. Italy 3, yeah.
3 out of
And
3
then
out of
the
4.
rest are one. And the rest are one.
Oh, Portugal have 2 this year, and surprisingly, right at the end, they should have had
yeah.
3. Sporting, you mentioned the Sporting situation. That I couldn't believe that. But yeah, to your point there,
three.
Spurs scraped through. But all I heard Nick saying there when he's talking about the English Premier League, saying 8 teams would qualify, is that he wants the Super League. Am I right, Wonga? Is that what you heard?
No. What I'm saying is, if you hear me out, if I'm saying 8 teams could go into the Champions League, and you could have easily 5 or 6 qualifying out of the group stages, easily. I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now. And
I mean, look,
you would find if you had to put, say, for example, right now, if you look at it, West Ham and Newcastle as 7 and 8, they can fight for a top 2 spot or potentially easily make a top 3 spot and go into the Europa League. That's how strong the Premier League is. That's what we're speaking about Champions League now. That is what I've noticed. I've noticed that the drop-off is high.
Nick, that's an interesting. I see Siddle's pulling a face in. I'm going to ask Siddle to take over, but that's an interesting observation. Do you not think, though, the experience of these Premier League teams so you mentioned a West Ham, they don't have the same experience as, say, for example, an Inter has in the Champions League, so they would find it a bit trickier there. Siddle, what do you think about Nick's comment?
Yeah, no, I think there's sort of therefore. I think in the Champions League it is tough, guys. I think we do talk about Champions League pedigree. Spurs have shown that they don't have Champions League pedigree. They got to the final and lost the final. They always come up short in the Champions League. A club like Liverpool has Champions League pedigree. Real Madrid has Champions League pedigree. So I think it's about the pedigree of the
but
clubs.
guys, Celo, you say they don't have pedigree, but they won their group. Spurs.
No, they won the group, yes, but there was a rubbish group, as I said. I said it was a rubbish group.
You just said it was a strong group.
No, I said
No,
I said the Bayern group was strong. Their group was weak because every team can actually.
They finished on top. I don't know how they finished on top.
Yeah, but now you say that, but Barcelona have pedigree in the Champions League. They got the top goal scorer from last year. They couldn't even qualify. So my argument is the rest of the leagues are shit, and the Premier League is much stronger. And if you had more teams in the Premier League,
listen,
you would.
Nick, I don't agree. Look at how many times the Premier League clubs have won the Champions League in the last 10 years. It's predominantly Spanish.
I'm talking about this season. I'm not talking about last season, bro, or the season before.
Nah,
you know what's so funny though? You know what's quite funny is everyone hits Liverpool with the history facts. I see Settle's coming out with some history facts there instead of present facts. Am I right there, Nick? The history facts. No. Anyway, all right, Jets. Just going to come back to the teams that have made it through to the next round. Wonga, Denga, and then Nick, and then Settle. Who are your favorites to make it to the final if you are bold enough to make that prediction right now?
Look, I only chose...
Pick two teams, right?
A winner. Look, I only chose a winner. I haven't looked at the thing, but I think it's, for me, because we have seen them play, and I definitely think Real Madrid have another chance again. I definitely can't write them off. The other teams, no, I don't see it, but I think Real Madrid, for me, is a favorite to win the tournament again. I think they make it to the final. You say another team, Cloud. I'm not too sure how I only selected one. I'm not too sure how the draw goes out in terms of which teams will fall on which side. That's why.
So you've got the top seeds are Napoli, Porto, Bayern, Spurs, Chelsea, Real Madrid, Man City, and Benfica, and then Liverpool, Bruges, Inter, Frankfurt, Milan, Leipzig, Dortmund, and PSG. And obviously, Liverpool can't play any of the English sides.
So I think PSG will obviously. If PSG go the other side, then I think they can.
PSG aren't going the other side. PSG
could play Bayern.
Could potentially play Real Madrid or Bayern or City or.
Oh yes.
Or Spurs.
So the fact that the other three English teams are on the other side, Claudio, suits you, because you could potentially get a Benfica or
Porto.
Hey, but Benfica.
That's the likely.
Benfica. Hey, Benfica. Give Claudio trouble, bro.
Yeah, but Claudio would rather play Benfica than Real Madrid.
You'd rather play
Bayern
Benfica
Munich.
or Porto. Or Bayern,
Hey, look,
yeah.
I think Liverpool at this stage would just rather not play anyone. Just get to the final.
No,
they
dude,
fall
have you
now.
not been
Yes,
watching? You clearly haven't been paying attention because we don't have problems in Europe where we've got problems in the Premier League, but we'll get to that. Nick, who do you think? Who are you backing here?
I'm going to give you three names, but the two that stand out are Bayern and Man City. I think if Haaland can stay fit, I think it will be very tough to stop them. So I think I foresee them in a final, but it's obviously based on the draw. And I think
so please repeat that for me, Nick. It skipped.
Bayern and Man City, and then I think Liverpool. I think I honestly think the teams in England are going to go quite far. You might find them all in the quarterfinals. But I think Napoli is going to throw a cat amongst the pigeons this season.
Yeah, they're playing well.
Really good domestically and obviously in Europe.
I agree with that.
I think it's quite tough, right? I think it's quite an open Champions League. I think Real Madrid can never be counted out. I think Carlo Ancelotti as a manager in that competition just knows how to play it well. And I think in the big games he's done very well this season. So I think the Real Madrid, Bayern, I'll put a question mark, and I just want to see them against a more clinical side, because when they played Barca weren't clinical in that game, but they had chances at what's that stadium, the Allianz Arena. But obviously the Nou Camp was a different story. But yeah, let's Real Madrid and I think a Man City in the final as well. But yeah, Bayern, let's see. I'm not saying that they can't do it, but let's see. And then Napoli, definitely, I think dark horses making a semi-final perhaps.
So despite all this talk about the English league being the strongest, no one's mentioned an English team. That's pretty ironic.
Man City. I said Man City. I said Man City.
Oh, sorry, I don't.
He's talking about
Pep Guardiola's continentals, Anyway, gents,
Man City's worth.
Yeah, he doesn't count Man City as an English team.
He wants to hear Liverpool. That's what he wants to hear. Liverpool, and then he says we can't an English team. Wow,
I think also, Claudio, and I know what you're going to potentially say, but I do think the January window and the World Cup, the status of the World Cup and how far players go in, injuries, I think that's going to determine a lot. Obviously, the draw will be made on Monday, and obviously you'll see what's what, but the teams and how they shape up in February is going to be completely different to now. So I think we need to reopen this can of worms later on.
Teams could make some signings, guys. Could make some
because
signings.
Honestly, Claudio, I don't think Liverpool have a chance unless they get a midfielder or two.
I think that's quite bold. I mean, I reckon as things stand, they still have a chance, which is the craziest thing to say. And
all 16 teams have a chance.
Yeah, but they got more. They've got a better chance than most, I think. I think what we've seen this season from a Liverpool perspective, we'll get into the Liverpool conversation, but they do show up for these particular games.
Liverpool top 5.
Yeah, top 5. That's fair. All right.
I don't put them top 5.
Don't. This man's just keep wearing that Kaiser Chiefs shirt there, Silo.
I'm being honest. I'm being honest. I don't see. I still see a lot of weaknesses in the Liverpool defense. And I feel good teams will exploit them. Obviously, there's listen. Even a Dortmund against Liverpool. I know they're obviously on the same side of the draw, but if a Dortmund played Liverpool, I would back Dortmund to do well in that game, especially how much trouble they gave Man City when they played each other.
All right, fair enough. I'm not going to unpack this yet because obviously we still need to be talking about our teams. But I just want to comment on the Man City section of the Champions League last night. They rotated their squad. They won 3-1 against Sevilla. But there was a record last night. Rico Lewis, he came on at fullback, or he started at fullback rather, became the youngest player to score on his first Champions League start as he sparked the comeback. Now, he's a fullback there, Nick. As a coach, when you're looking at it, are you seeing in the modern game that fullbacks, younger fullbacks, are getting more chances at the highest level than any other position? Well, that's just an observation I've made recently. Because when you're looking at the strikers, all your higher profile teams, your big teams, your Man Cities, your Real Madrids, they all want to be signing these big name players. But it's the fullbacks that they need understudies for. So you've got a good Trent or Kyle Walker, and you can have an opportunity to give the youngsters a chance at right back.
Yeah, I don't know the history of the kid. Is he naturally a fullback, or did he just play fullback last night?
No, he just played fullback last night. I'm not entirely sure. He's 17. That's as much as I know about him. And he
Yeah,
scored last night.
so what I have seen tend to happen, like, coaches can hide, for example, for lack of better words, hide, say, a midfield player who can do a job at right back or left back, and you potentially won't be as found out in a left back or a right back position. But if he is a fullback, yeah, I think it's the less risky move for a coach to play a youngster, because
Fullback.
he can hide in those positions and he can have a lot of cover in the sense where, potentially, a Ruben Diaz could sort of cover him, or I didn't particularly watch a game, but there's more space for a player in that position to have protection, and then also to potentially express themselves if they're playing for a team like Man City who dominate the ball. Whereas if you throw them in the midfield or you throw them at centre half or up front, that's
It's
where
trickier.
yeah, it's tricky, and they're more focused. That's a more focused position in which the team will attack and defend. So the likelihood of a mistake happening is higher. Whereas in the fullback positions, probably not. So I think coaches are probably more comfortable in just throwing them in on those positions, and I won't be surprised if the coach will say to the centre back that's covering him to make sure that he covers him and guide him and lead him in a way. Probably talk to him for however long he was on the field and say, listen, just make sure he gets through these last, say, 25-30 minutes.
No, I agree. I want to touch on what Nick just said, man. I think it is easier to put youngsters on the park, on the wings, on all the wider areas. So whether it is right back or on left wing or right wing, it's obviously easier to kind of hide them there and not in the spine. The center backs and the center mids. It's a bit trickier when you put them there in the engine room. You're going to be facing Erling Haaland. If when you play Man City, you're facing Callum Wilson, so or Darwin Nunes, or Gabriel Jesus, so I think it is a bit better if you're being put out on the wider side. There's a bit of more protection, I think, as well.
Yeah, so to every aspiring footballer there, and you've got some trickery, just learn how to defend a little bit better than Trent, and you've got a real career path there through next team there at University of Pretoria. But also, we've got Jason in the comments saying, hey, Ronaldo is putting Ronaldo in the comments, just saying, calma, relax, everybody. He's saying 1 out of the 4 speakers teams are currently in the Champions League. Can everyone just make note of that? Right, gents, we're going to move over to the Jude Bellingham sort of situation. So much talk about this guy. Wonga, we're going to kick off with you. Why we're going to kick off with you is because this week it's been quoted. £130 million for this 19-year-old player. This player that is absolutely the hottest property right now in European football, at least in the tabloids. You said he is worth every single penny, Wonga Denga. Why?
Look, I mean, João Felix went to Atletico for 100, if I'm not mistaken. Looking at Haaland, signed for 100 as well. Grealish signed for 100. If those players are going to...
Haaland was 70.
Oh, my bad. Cost more than Grealish. Yes, anyways. But I mean, if you're looking at...
He's only just worked that out, that Grealish cost more than Haaland. Anyway, keep going.
But look, you look at the price of these players, they're obviously basing it. There's a lot of things that they take into consideration. But if you're looking at Jude Bellingham, the way he plays, he's 19 years old, guys. He's already captained Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund making Champions League every year. Having to compete against Bayern. Bayern stealing Dortmund's players every year. They're going to be taking someone good from their team. And Borussia Dortmund still managed to compete with them year in, year out. Bellingham, I mean, you watch the games the boy plays, very effective. And I think Bellingham, you see the teams that are going after him, Some of them playing, different football. I think he fits into all those teams. He really can choose which team he wants to go into. And at 19 years old, just the understanding of the game. I mean, the dominance he has on the field at that age. There's only one way you see for that boy, and that's up. So 130 million might even just be a bargain, to be honest with you. Where he goes now, he's going to probably stay there for a long while. And does he leave Dortmund? I think yes. I think he has to. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna. You want to be the best player in the world, you can't stay at Dortmund. You're gonna have to move up.
But he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to go now, though. Eh?
Yeah, true. He doesn't have to go now, but at some point you'll have to. I think he'll have to leave soon. I think in the next year or two, go.
Yeah.
Go somewhere. Where does he go? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of a tricky one for him because he's probably at a crossroads now. I think Selo said something quite key there. He doesn't have to go now, and Dortmund can probably wait till he's 21 and then, decide to offload him. I was listening to something today which is quite interesting. If you look at Sancho moving from Dortmund to Man United, it was it's a tricky one for Sancho because now he's had two different managers. The club was in a little bit of a weird space when he moved there, and he hasn't really set the league alight like he was doing in Germany. So he might look at Man United as an option where, they're doing a rebuild now and he could be the center of that, or he looks at his former teammate going to Man United and sort of struggling. The Real Madrid one is a tricky one as well because he could go and really become a Galactico, if you want to call him that, and be the best in the world at a Real Madrid. But it might be too early because, Real Madrid can swallow you up. Then there's only two teams really. And, it's probably your Man Cities and Liverpool to
I thought you were gonna say Newcastle, but come on, you should have said it.
No, we could. If I'm honest with you, if the summer comes and we got Champions League, which is probably unlikely, I wouldn't mind. If I'm the owner, why not just put a cheeky bid in there? Because then you had a proper rebuild of a club where it's been fast tracked probably 3 years in advance. But going back to my point, I think Liverpool need Bellingham. I don't think Bellingham needs Liverpool, if I'm honest with you. And Claudio, it's not having a go at you. I do think that midfield needs someone of a Bellingham. Needs a Bellingham stature. And if I'm honest with you, if I'm Jurgen Klopp and a Man City or Liverpool, a Man City or Man United snatch him up, I would be looking at my board and saying, like, you want us to challenge for the title, but I've wanted this player for the last 2 years, and you haven't put the money down, or he's decided to go elsewhere. So I mean, Jason says his shirt's hanging up in the cupboard. I don't think it's that simple, because he's more than likely going to have a good World Cup, and he's going to have a couple of suitors, waiting in the wings for him. And if Real Madrid come for a player, it's very, very difficult any player in the world to say no to.
Well, I
and
think
after the World Cup, his price will shoot again.
Yeah, depending on how England do, of course, and if Southgate can get the best out of him. But I mean, Real Madrid's an interesting candidate to mention here, largely because we know, especially Silo, in terms of you aware of the documentary you watched regarding Figo, and Perez came in there. He had this idea and this vision of creating the Galacticos, and he's kind of doing the same thing, but he's doing the same thing under. I'm not going to say the Liverpool model, but under the model that all the clubs are now choosing to go for, finding the hottest young talent. But except he's spending all the biggest money on these players, because every one of these players that have gone to Real Madrid are the players that Jurgen Klopp wanted. And it's been well documented. They've just thrown more money. So again, that's the big worry there for Jurgen Klopp when you're considering Real Madrid and the dream. But we do know that Bellingham's got a sound counsel, and every decision he makes isn't necessarily financial. It's for where he wants to go with regards to growth, success, and obviously where potentially he wants to be the best. So the question I'll ask you, Silo, out of these names that have been mentioned, your Real Madrid, Man City, Liverpool, who's the other one? Newcastle out of it for the time being. Yep, to your point, they could well be in it with regards to the money that they want to throw at it. Whether or not the player would go there, very unlikely in my opinion. But Chelsea's also been mentioned. Which team do you think you would advise this player to go to, and why?
Yeah, man, it is a very tricky one. I think, yeah, man, like every team, I think you also make it what what you make of it, right? There's been young talents going to each of these clubs and doing very well, and there's been young talents who've struggled. I think for stability's sake, in terms of him, I think he definitely should stay clear of a Chelsea. He should definitely stay clear of a Chelsea. I think a Man City or a Liverpool would definitely be quite a kind of good place for him to be at. I think just in terms of the managers, Klopp and Guardiola are, and they're quite settled in terms of their jobs. They've actually built squads, so it's kind of adding another piece to the squads that they currently have. So I think those are the two teams that would be the best suited. Obviously I'll be biased and say Man United, but I think obviously we're only in the first year of our rebuild. Yes, it would be great to have him, but yeah, we're the first phase of our rebuild. We're not as settled as the others. I don't know, obviously, how he would feel about coming on board into that rebuild. And then Real Madrid is exciting. I think Real Madrid are trying to do some interesting stuff with some youngsters, but also I think that it doesn't make sense for a Bellingham to go to Real Madrid when Federico Valverde is hot in like one of the best young midfielders, under 23 midfielders in La Liga right now. And I see him naturally just moving into the center of midfield, where his real position is. And that kind of made, obviously you need competition, but I think it makes more sense to rather put Federico in the middle and then rather invest on a wide forward that they need going forward.
2 points though that I just want to add. I think if I'm a young Englishman, I'm 19 years old, I've grown up in the UK, supported Birmingham City, came through their academy, probably watched
Retired
Birmingham
his
in the
number.
Premier League. Yeah, and I think for me, I don't know, this is probably because I've got British family, I've got a British passport. Like when I was a youngster, I was like, I just want to play in the Premier League. I would like to think he would, obviously representing his nation, would want to go and play in the Premier League, the best league in the world. So
this is the fourth time Nick has said it, ladies and gentlemen. He's really, the Premier League have come out. They've given him some sponsorship on the side. Let's keep doing it, then, Nick.
It's free promo, guys. Free promo.
I'm using that.
Come on, Garnacho, come on.
Oh
yes,
anyway.
Alejandro Garnacho.
I don't know why he does this. Keep going, Nick.
So
he thinks this is a watch along. This isn't a watch along, Silo.
Sorry, guys. An 18-year-old youth academy product from Man United has just scored his first goal. I am emotional.
Yeah, but we're talking about hottest property, not Man United. Keep going.
I'm emotional, guys. Our best young player has scored a goal.
So why I mentioned again that the Premier League is the best league in the world is I'm quoting what he should be saying to himself. So I would then, if I had that mindset, I would only think about a Premier League team. If that is the case, my thinking is you don't need to rush it now in January. Liverpool are in a bit of a shaky position in the league at the moment. And then Man United are in their rebuild. And then Chelsea are in a little bit of turmoil. And then obviously Man City are who they are. So why not just wait until the summer and see where those teams are, in respect to their rebuilds or, place in the league. He doesn't need to rush it now because Liverpool might be in a transition phase. I think Jason's alluded to that a few times, where they might just make the Champions League this year and not win anything, or go far in the Champions League and just make the Champions League in like 4th or 3rd position. And, Jurgen Klopp says to him, listen, come, you're going to be the first piece of the puzzle that's going to start the challenge again against City, possibly next season. I don't know.
And look, I mean, Man City as well. Kevin De Bruyne as well, 32, I think, this year. What?
Oh, he can't be 32. He can't be older than Pogba. No ways.
Kevin De Bruyne, yeah, it's 91, 92, I think. I think he's 31, 32 now. Surely.
Yeah, he's 31 years old.
So,
that's correct. And
he's
he's saying it's probably going to be his last World Cup as well. He's come out saying that, but keep going on.
Yeah, so if he's going to be next year or two, yeah, I mean, it's going to be sad not seeing him anymore at Man City, but next year or two, he'll probably be on his way out of Man City, or have a different role there. And then they'd probably definitely be looking to bring someone like a Bellingham to come and sort of you could be looking at a Bellingham to replace someone like a Kevin De Bruyne there. So yeah, I think the Man City would also probably have a shout at the boy come a year or two from now if he doesn't decide to go now.
I think Man City is the perfect place for him to go.
I also think so, especially if he wants Champions League guaranteed. If he goes to Liverpool, a bit dicey. But
Champions League and Premier League guaranteed then with Haaland, former teammate. Plus, then you're looking at what's his name. You got Bernard Silva, he's wanting to leave. You've got, I did hear it. I just brushed over it because I got more important things to talk about. Yeah. Yeah, and Gundogan. So you got two midfielders. You know, Bernardo Silva is actively looking. It looks like Gundogan might go to Bayern Munich. So there is a opening there for him, and they wouldn't mind losing those two players if they got a player like him. But to obviously Nick's point in terms of where he style-wise and where he'd be best fit for, it depends. It would be interesting for him to go into Liverpool, and he's already been given the armband at Dortmund. If one of the promises is saying you come to the club, there's guaranteed leadership role here, which would be quite interesting. But anyway, that's me just speculating. Gents, we're going to move over to the Premier League and discuss
Sorry, Claudio. The fact of the matter is he would actually still adapt to playing in Spain because he's proven that he could go to a foreign country and do it. Sorry, I just wanted to add that in. So I wouldn't write off Real Madrid at all in this conversation.
My thing with the Real Madrid situation is that you can always go there. Do you get what I'm saying? You can always you go to the Premier League. You have 2, 3, 4 years. It's not like Real Madrid.
You can always go there. Yeah.
So that's something I'm sure his advisors or people would be saying. Apparently, a lot of the speculation or the talk is the journalists and Gareth Southgate wants him to be playing in England so he can keep an eye on him and so they can help him develop from an English perspective. I don't know how that works.
But Southgate won't have that job forever.
No, he won't. But the talk is so he can be there. And so to Nick's point, he can dominate in England and then move over. So it would be interesting for him to do that and then say, cool, well, I've done Germany. I've dominated in the Premier League and I'm going to go to La Liga and win Ballon d'Or or something ridiculous. Anyway, Selo, you wanted to make a point.
No, I just wanted to just mention what I just saw. Obviously, people need to know why I'm jumping up and down.
No, but you heard that Tabatso saying, who even watches football on Thursday? Right, we're going to talk about the Premier League. And the first team we're going to be covering is your Gunners.
Oh, Arsenal.
Tony, we can't hear you.
Oh, that was me.
Tell us where you're at there with Arsenal. Where you at with Arsenal right now?
Oh, well, we're on top of the log. That's where we're at. But look, flying high. It's good, and I was so happy when they postponed that match after the Queen's death. I think it's helped us a lot, and I think, to be honest with you, I think we would not be sitting second if we had to face them now. I think it's nice now that we were supposed to play Man City, and then they postponed the match. It's unfortunate. Things have to be done, and but I think that's helped us a bit. And look, Arsenal has we've been doing well, and I think the team is they're really taking it one game at a time, not really looking at where they could finish into who they're playing the week after that. They've been taking a game at a time, and it makes me look, and Jason, look, it'll be different. Like the worst thing here now is this World Cup. That's the worst thing about this whole thing. I know we're going to go talk about it, but I think that how we respond after that World Cup, I think then I'll be able to see. But at the current moment, I'm happy with my team, Claudio, the way we're performing. Again, specific players, if I look at our guys, our defense has been is actually on point now. William Saliba, he came in actually when he came in the team, when he came into the Premier League, I actually put him as my fantasy league captain. Not my captain, put him in my fantasy league squad. Cheap.
It's about to say captain.
And I should have captained him. I mean, he wouldn't have done too bad anyways. But I mean, he's been doing very well. He's been solid. Him, Gabriel, Ben White's also been doing well as at the back as well. And also playing out of, you could say, out of position. He's playing on the right back. I had to do that because we had Tomiyasu injured, but he's been doing well there. And obviously the position on our log shows that. I know, picking one player in my team to be the best player was very difficult because I'm looking at a Martinelli and Odegaard, Saka, Jesus, Shaka. And again, I say Shaka is doing well because I think now they are not letting him focus on the thing that he's poor at. Rather go forward. I don't think he can do that bad up front, but he's actually doing well. Getting in the goals. He's actually putting in some nice balls in there for Jesus. Jesus is also going on a bit of a dry run, and I hear this English media. You mustn't listen to this nonsense. 6 games without scoring. Yeah. You mustn't listen to that nonsense. He doesn't have to score the goals.
You know,
on top of the goddamn
goals in him, eh? You know that.
I don't care about that.
Half the amount of minutes.
Even Johnington.
His team is on top of the league. That's all that matters.
Guys, a lot of players have scored more than Jesus. A lot of players, guys. I think we can each name a player from our club. Rashford.
Yeah, and I mean
Callum Wilson.
Almiron.
Hey, we are scoring. Our team is scoring goals. That's what matters to me now. I think he mustn't be. Yeah.
Right back.
Anyway, we'll keep going. Yeah, so your main man's not scoring goals, but he's been influential for the side. Yes.
So what happens when he gets injured?
That's the only question I ask. He's been very influential. That's what I worry about. But I think I do think then a guy like Nketiah, then you tell him, okay, now it's time, chap, because he's always been asking to he says he will prove himself if he's literally said it. Like the only problem he has at the moment is that now they're asking him to they want him to perform to perform at his best, but he only gets like 15 minutes. He's saying, look, give me three straight games there, at least 3 straight full games, and if I don't perform after that, then you can have questions about whether he's fit for the job or not.
But do you think they're just going to give him 3 games? Where's he going to get the 3 games from? You guys are top of the log. Arteta's not going to be playing around. He's already being linked with the Barcelona job. He wants that job. He's not going to mess around.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I think on that point, I think we're doing well. Even Partey as well came back and he scored two goals, 2 similar goals from outside the box. He's been trying that. He tried that many times last year, but it never worked. And now, he's finally getting those things on target. But you can see there's a lot firing for my team at the moment compared to what was happening last year, and that's why I'm very happy with them. I can't for me to pull out one person and say that there is no standout performer. To be honest with you, there were times like would be, finished top 4, and you had Robin van Persie who was outstanding. You had the times when Cesc Fabregas was there and Adebayor was there, but at the moment I think the Arsenal, the way the team is looking, I think we're playing well together. I think I can choose an impactful player, the most impactful player, and I think that would be William Saliba. He's coming in and our defense has just it's solid now. Yeah. It's flat solid. So I think I can
made a huge difference for them, and they're doing quite well right now. And they are at the top of the log, and they are pushing for the title. To many people's surprise, whether or not we all know everyone's fighting for second. But let's talk about possible second place finishes up next, and that's going to be an interesting one. We just need his full attention there.
Second
the 360
place, Man United.
This is just what I've been hearing from all the Man United fans. I've been getting loud. Everything I'm hearing on the streets, they say, we're going to finish second. We're going to finish second. Selo, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts here. This is what I've been hearing there. Just what do you tell me? What's happening with your team? Things. Casemiro's come out.
Which Man United supporter?
Casemiro's come out and he said some big things here. He said, in particular, what did he say with regards to his new manager? He said, Ten Hag has a winning obsession. I've seen this in only a few managers. How does that make you feel there, Selo? Hey, Mr. Ten Hag, he's got a winning obsession. Finally, someone who wants to win at Old Trafford.
No, but that is facts. That's not a lie. That's facts. Ten Hag does have a winning obsession. I think that's not a lie. But I don't know
Sorry, Silo.
which
Does everyone else notice when he speaks about his team how his tone changes? Does everyone notice that? He gets like this seriously, yes, it's my team now. It's my time to talk. As you were, Silo. Let's hear it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just talking like my normal voice. My normal voice, But in all honesty, I think Man United it's looking good, in terms of, I think, the defensive side of things. I think we've been obviously quite, we're doing quite well. We haven't conceded a goal from open play for about 11 hours, I think it is now. So that's quite good. And I like the improvement in certain players, from last season to this season. Your Diogo Dalot has gone in leaps and bounds in terms of his performance. He's becoming the defender that Jose Mourinho described him as. Jose Mourinho described him as the best young fullback in Europe when he signed at the age of 19. Now he's 22, and he's obviously living up to expectations finally. But I think
people want to buy him as well, Silo.
Yeah, people want to buy it, but I think we'll obviously offer him a new contract. He's got I think a year option as well. We'll probably exercise that and then give him some more money as well, and then maybe get a 5-year contract. He's definitely looking the part. I just think, just as Man United, we just need to just get other players on form or fit. Martial particularly, just because just from a point of view that we kind of rely on Ronaldo to be firing, but Ronaldo actually doesn't maybe sometimes play the way Ten Hag wants him to play. But he is trying to do stuff. And he was told not to come as deep as he does in the previous game, because he likes to come deep sometimes. I don't know why he likes to come so deep. Yeah, he's at the half. He should be the focal point. He should be the focal point.
Yeah, but he comes deep because he needs to get a touch on the ball. That's what he wants. He wants to touch the ball before he's in the box. And the problem is, and I watched last week's Thursday. I know because there was nothing else on Thursday, so I watched it. I watched the one Man United game of my life there.
Yeah,
but he comes deep because he just wants to get involved, and because he knows if he collects deep, he can also have long range shots. He knows that.
But you see, then he has those frustrating long range shots, and then he doesn't hit the target, and he gets frustrated. I think sometimes his interplay can be better. So if you come deep, your interplay needs to be better. And that's where his interplay has never been really amazing. That's where Martial's interplay is very good. Martial can hold up the ball, can play a one touch, touch. So I think that's where we.
But to be fair as well, but Ronaldo doesn't get many balls in the box when he's playing up front, though. That's the thing. That's also why he's coming short. Last game. But he's waiting. But a lot of the time he's waiting. We fed him chances, and he missed a lot, and he only scored one. So we're feeding him, and then he's missing. But but what I'm saying is that I think the team is coming along nicely, and I think obviously our aim should be to finish in the top 4. The finishing second thing, I think that is very premature, especially when we have Arsenal doing so well and a Man City doing well. Those should be the favorites to finish the top 2. Those should be the favorites to finish. Those should be the favorites to finish top 2, and then I think obviously top 4 is where we should be aiming. Where Man United, Chelsea, Spurs, and the Magpies should be.
There we go. I like that.
Should be fighting for the top 4 together.
So I was gonna say, all I'm hearing from you is that the GOAT is Messi, but because you gave me that nice comment there, I'll take that thought back. but for me, when I look at Man United, there's definitely improvement. Yeah. I thought when they played against Newcastle specifically, I found them a little bit toothless, but then also maybe I underplayed how well Newcastle maybe played in that game. I think in general, I think there's marked improvement, and I think, like you said, individually, but I do think long term, and I think January is a great opportunity. I think you need to get a proper number 9. Who can actually, be the not the final.
Nick, who would that number 9 be? I mean, right now on the market, who would you get?
We must go for Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko at RB Salzburg. Listen, he has signed for Leipzig to be signed next season for about 25 million pounds, but Leipzig apparently are willing to cash in already before even him playing for them. Obviously,
Where does he play now?
He plays for Salzburg, so he plays for the Austrian.
Oh,
the
Salzburg,
Austrian,
Leipzig.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So he'll go from one RB to the other RB, and obviously it's not a fair market value transaction because they were coaching Premier League clubs for 30-40 million pounds, but now you're going to this family group in 22 million pounds. But I think he's a good talent.
But listen, there'll also be standouts in the World Cup, eh? There'll always be there'll be like two or three that will just like
definitely,
you haven't heard of it.
There will be some players there, and they have mentioned that Man United is looking in the South American market as well for a possible striker. In the South American market, you do find some gems. I mean, you've seen your Radamel Falcao's, your Sergio Aguero's go to maybe not the biggest European heavyweights, but going to.
You're getting Man City's new one, man, Alvarez. Everyone is talking about Haaland being injured, but the man stepped up, 2 assists last night, 1 goal.
He's from River Plate, you know what I mean? That's a decent side. And he's played Copa. He won Copa Libertadores before, so obviously I think those type of players could be the guys that we should be looking at in Colombia and Argentina and Brazil, wherever. I think there's very good talent. If need be, you can even come to South Africa and try to become something here. Maybe become a Peter Charulile, since he's going in all at Sundowns. Since he wants to
South African.
Maybe they must sign him.
Yeah, he wants to leave Downs. Yeah.
Jets, before we move on,
does he really want to leave?
No, he wants to. Apparently, Peter wants him in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Saudi will pay him, he'll go.
He wants.
Thilo, before we discuss the next team, who's been the most impactful signing for Man United? I mean, I've got a name off the top of my head there, but who do you think's been the best player there?
Me for my side, it has to be Lisandro Martinez. I think he's been the most impactful signing. I think just the aggression he's brought into the defense, into the team. Obviously they were talking about his height at the start of the season. Yes, he is a short player, but he's the same height as Carlos Puyol and Fabio Cannavaro. I'm not saying he's that level, but I'm just saying that he's proven that his height is just his height. But playing out from the back, his passes through the lines is amazing. So I think he's been the most impactful signing.
Wonga, you had a name there. Oh, Casemiro there for Nick. Okay, Wonga.
No, I agree with Celo. I think Lisandro Martinez would be the one. Yeah, and he's also hit his doubters right on the head.
Wonga, how many Man United games have you watched this season?
Quite a few. Maybe.
I was just going to check you weren't just agreeing with Celo because you didn't actually have one.
No, honestly, who I had Nick before was I would have said an Eriksen, but then I've watched him a lot.
I think for me.
Yeah, I think Martinez would fall number one for me because Eriksen, I think. Yeah, he's done well, but I think definitely Martinez would.
But guys, why I say Casemiro is in that position, it's like I was listening to this other thing where there was like players that you thought were so rated, but they were actually so underrated by say the English media, and like Michael Carrick was probably one of them, and he's doing that sort of job I think for Man United, and also like he's technically. He's a complete upgrade on Fred. Even though I know they've been playing McTominay. He's if you had to take those two out and you play Eriksen as a 10, you have Casemiro and then maybe a Fernandes. It's not. I know it's not going to happen, but what I'm saying if it comes down to that, Casemiro is that guy won the Champions League a few times. He's
five.
It's not his first rodeo, So for me, I think he's going to be key to the rebuild. If I'm honest with you, from that midfield, because Celo, you've been crying for the last 2 seasons about your midfield.
Hard, bro, hard. I think the mentality is something that is brought to the team. I think obviously that last minute equalizer against Chelsea. being hungry in the box, going for that ball in the box. Something that,
Yep.
that probably, obviously, he's not signed for scoring a header, but it's something that he actually does have in his.
But have you seen some of his balls as well?
No, I've seen his passes. His passing, he had an assist
first assist
for
for
Ronaldo's
Ronaldo.
goal against Everton. And his passing is underrated. He had a nice ball against
Rashford
against Newcastle with the outside of the foot.
Yeah.
That was delicious. And Rashford missed that, but at least the next two headers he's obviously scored.
But you know what I was saying? Actually, I know we're going a bit long on this, but if Ronaldo was there on the field, if they never took him off, that's a goal. Yeah. We haven't had time to speak about that.
That's a goal. That's a goal. That's a goal. That's a goal. You're right. Yeah, I agree.
Right, well, Nick, you weren't here for the last time this made an appearance, but you are here today.
So
I
was waiting. I was waiting.
It's there, Nick. It's
that's
there.
Nice. That's very nice.
you're the top half. You're the top half.
We waited for Newcastle. Yeah, we waited for them to make top 4 for them to get an animation. They're there now, so now they got an animation.
Guys,
let's talk.
That looks like a top 4 crest. That, don't you think? I read something. I read something quite funny. They were talking about Callum Wilson and if he should make the England team, and that's not my discussion now. And they had said, if he had gone to a Big 6 team, he would be a regular in the England, national team. And some Geordie just replies there, mate, he's playing for a top 4 club now, so you have nothing to worry about. I thought it was quite funny, quite humorous. Don't need to worry about top 6, boys. We're top 4.
Also, Nick, you jumped straight off the back with regards to Wilson, but what about Almiron? We got all these conversations with Grealish, Almiron. Grealish, the 100 million player. All of a sudden, Almiron gets slandered by the guy, and he's come out and he's doing the thing with Eddie Howe.
No, I think
I know we mentioned this in the past.
I love it, guys. I love that.
I'm super chuffed also just for the fact that he was signed under Benitez's reign and also playing probably a pragmatic style of football, but with probably a little bit more of a tactical nuance. Playing under Bruce, he was so limited. I was looking at stats of how we were completely, outplayed in matches. We would have 14, 15, 20% possession. That's not Almiron. Almiron needs to get the ball and run at plays and combine. And he's thriving under free-flowing Eddie Howe. So, he's always had the talent, but I think he needs to sort of be released, and he's got the confidence now. I think he's got like 3 of his 6 goals could literally be in the like goal of the month contenders. Like
they have a really good.
I agree with you.
Really good.
That volley, the volley he hits. I remember that volley he hits.
Goes
over the keeper.
From the one from was it Bruno's pass? Bruno passed it down the
I think what's nice is obviously Callum Wilson scoring, but we're getting goals from other areas, which is obviously refreshing. I think the most refreshing thing is
and lots of goals.
Isak and say Maximum aren't even playing, so
that's
probably also really really good. Seeing as though they're not playing, and once they're back, I think that's up to Eddie Howe. See how he fits them all in, and how good can we actually be.
Also, funny thing is, the guys. Oh, go ahead, Wonga.
No, funny thing is so this weekend we're doing fantasy league. So me and my cousin thought it was a good thing to get Newcastle players. He got Almiron, and he captained him by mistake. The current
I've got Wilson in my team. I've got Wilson in my team, and I'm about to get Almiron. I just had to do a reshuffle because I had too many Newcastle players in my team, so I had to take out Pope to make way for Almiron.
Yes, can you imagine first world problems? Guys are having like real stress in how many Newcastle players they can actually fit into their team.
It's true.
Back in the past,
it's funny. Before Wonga.
Trippier since game week 1. Trippier's been my team since game week 1.
Same here.
But listen, can I jump in here, Claudio, just to have a go at Jason here? What? Please just explain.
Wait, Nick. When you have a go at someone in the comments, you got to read the comment out for our listeners that are listening.
So Jason sort of suggests that I think that all Newcastle's English players should be going to the World Cup, and quite frankly, 75, 80% of them should be. Nick Pope should be going, which he will be going. Callum Wilson should be going, and I'm not saying this just because he's a Newcastle player, but I honestly think if England have a chance, they need to be taking 3 strikers: Kane, Wilson, and Ivan Toney. I think it's a no-brainer. Those 3 strikers are on form, and why wouldn't you take 3 strikers? The other one is probably an outsider, but I would say Dan Burn, potentially, because Chilwell's just got injured. He can play left back, he can play left centre back, and England centre backs aren't doing too well at the moment. We've kept 6 clean sheets, guys.
Dan Burn, no man, come on, Nick. I was following you. I was agreeing with you too. Dan Burn, come on, bruh. Wow, man.
Okay, so who got the 6 clean sheets? Did the Man United left back get that? I don't know. Tell me.
We've only considered one.
No, explain to
me. In 11
No,
hours.
I'm not talking about that. I'm asking about your clean sheets. How's your left back done?
How many clean sheets does Man United have? I don't know. Tell me. Man United.
I just know we're at the top of the list. So everyone, I look down on everyone.
Man United clean sheets. Man United have 6 clean sheets. Wait.
All right, Settle, the fact you're trying to defend this is not the time or place. You're going to have that off air with Nick. I think Nick's made a valid point. Nick, before we move over to the next team, because we are running out of time.
Is a natural.
No, obviously. Come on, obviously.
Yeah, he will be the natural choice.
With Reece James being injured, I think then it's a no-brainer. I think they were probably level, Nick, if you're being honest, right? They're of the same caliber of right backs, right?
Reece James doesn't score you goals, so no.
Check Jason.
He does, guys.
He does score you goals, bro. What's wrong with you? Reece James is ahead of Trippier. Come on.
He scores free
scored.
kick. He scores free kick.
Not free kick. He scores from open play. He scored a goal. Man, there was a goal he scored in the Champions
that's
League.
a different style of football.
Yeah, but remember, gents, Trippier is a Southgate love child. Okay, gents, before we move over to the next club, Wangadenga, Guimarães, does he leave Newcastle end of the season? Yes or no?
You could sign him actually, hey?
Oh, no, I don't think he leaves.
Hey, Claudio,
No, I think he stays.
Claudio, you'd be a good signing for you guys.
I'll take him. I think he'd fit in well there. You know.
I think he
Newcastle's
stays.
a feeder club.
They play the way they play. I mean, if he leaves, I don't think that would be. It would make sense to me, but it would be interesting to see where he goes. But I think he stays. He's doing well in the team. I think there's only upwards from here. If you're using your head, you can only see there's only
And the
upwards from
money.
here.
So he stays.
Yeah, but that- but I mean,
No. Settle, before Nick gets to say anything, what do you think?
No, man. I think. Listen, guys. When he signed for Newcastle, before Nick actually found out who he was, I said he's a centre mid that should be playing for a traditional top 6 side. That's what I said.
You're so salty.
So Settle agrees he's leaving end of the season. What do you think?
I don't know. I just think he should be playing for a traditional top 6 before he signed.
So we are at risk. We are at risk if we don't continue building. But he just had a baby like last week, and he said, when asked, he said, "Is your son going to be a Geordie?" He says, "Yeah, he's a Geordie. He's born in Newcastle." So I don't see him leaving. And just to answer Jason's question, do I think Trippier is ahead of all of them? It was more of a statement. Our argument is that Trippier is ahead of Trent, and that will always be the case.
Oh no, 100%. No, 100%. Come on, that's a no-brainer.
Reece James is decent. Kyle Walker is a tricky one because he's right centre back of the 3. But if he plays right back, he probably is ahead of all of them.
Yeah,
No,
but also
What
we
is
got to
your
think
thoughts
about
on
the fact that
Newcastle, Claudia? Tell me.
Southgate thinks like you, Nick. Sorry, what was the question?
What is your thoughts on Newcastle? Give my team some credit. Give my team some love.
So I subscribe to The Athletic, and there are 2 teams that I read about like on a daily basis. Liverpool and Newcastle's the other one. Largely because I told you I've got a soft spot for Newcastle, but I think they in the right place at the moment. We've spoken about the 12th man week in, week out. No. I Settle. My story goes way before I even knew Nick with Newcastle. I think manager 2000 it was. A football manager. I managed Newcastle. And we went far. We went far together in the Champions League. And since then, I was like, hey. Sorry, it was 2004 actually. I think
it's like Antoine Griezmann. It's like Antoine Griezmann. He says Newcastle is his club because he went far with the football manager as well.
Yeah, I mean, I had Titus Bramble, I had Craig Bellamy, I had all those gents, and they did the job for me. Anyway, The point is, they're in a good spot right now. We know Eddie Howe's doing the thing. It's frightening how quickly they're doing this. That's the one concern I have from my side, because I would have liked them to be like 3 or 4 steps further behind and still supporting them. Now I don't like the fact they are competing right now. I was hoping maybe further down the line. But yeah, the world's your oyster. If they keep going this way, January, if they are in contention before this World Cup with this top 4 spot, which it's likely they will be, I don't see why they're not going to go out in January and just say they're going to spend
money,
yeah, and they will do it, and they'll make sure they keep the top 4 spot and give
No,
Eddie Howe a real chance to.
I think in all honesty, I think every club in January, they need to assess where they are in the log at that point in time, and whatever position that they thought of adding in the summer, they should add in the winter. Because, for instance, Man United needs a striker. They shouldn't wait till the summer. They should do it in the winter. Newcastle needs a certain type of player, whichever position it is. He knows what it is. They must do it. Liverpool needs a midfielder. They must do it. Arsenal needs, I think, another defensive-minded midfielder, actually, Wonga, because obviously if Partey goes to jail, then you need another midfield type of thing. So
the bonus for Newcastle, gentlemen, is that they'll only be playing 1 game a week, and the other teams in contention will be in European competition. And look at how that
help Chelsea the time with Conte.
It helps Conte that time. Yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I agree with you, Claudio. If we're in the position, why not have a full go at it? And you know what? We haven't even spent the most. We haven't even opened the bag yet, the bag of money.
Yeah.
I think once we do, then,
but I think it's still highly frustrating for the likes of Jurgen Klopp when he's looking over the shoulder and he's going, shit, man, these guys are just spending a lot of money on average players just to fill the spots right now and have a decent squad, where I need to fill the gap, the one big gap, and I'm not getting what I need.
How much was Darwin Núñez?
Ah, bro, it was 64 million. No, it was 64 million with it to go up to 80 based on clauses.
The thing is, you needed to replace other players. You one was out and one was in, so you didn't really move anywhere.
How much was Luis Diaz?
Why are you talking about this, bro?
I think it was 50,
it's not
60.
about the
60, I think, if I'm mistaken.
No, it was not even. It wasn't 60. You mad? It was 60. Don't say it was 60.
No,
it was in the 40s. It was 46.
With 46 million. Okay.
Guys, if you're going to speak facts about my team, get the facts right. Okay, that's first.
No, I'm asking. I asked questions. Right. I asked questions. I didn't say anything. I asked a question. You gave me the answers. Darwin Núñez is 100 million euros, including add-ons.
Guys, if we're going to do direct comparisons and prices and all the rest of it, what you got to understand with regards to the situation with Liverpool is that, and where people keep talking about this, and it's not Liverpool fans or sour grapes. What we're saying is, when we're looking at what Jurgen Klopp has done, Jurgen Klopp has punched far above his weight. And when we're looking at what Man City have done, and when we
do the Liverpool crest.
You've pissed him off now.
Do the Liverpool crest. It's you talking about it anyway, so people just need to
Anyway, we're not going to go down this path, but we're going to discuss. We don't actually have much time to talk about this.
We have to
because we don't have much time because we're only meant to be.
Liverpool act like the bottom of the barrel club that spends £10 million a window when they don't spend £10 million.
Are you listening to Mr. Manchester United? You just spent over $2 billion over the course of 10 years and gets to piece of shit. Now they're only finally competing when after the 6th manager. Now they're getting low. You guys, when you look at numbers, and you're a financial guy, you're a financial guy. How can you not understand the knock-on effects of how things work in football? How can you not understand that?
Claudio, my club is not a well-run club. It's not a well-run club. We just signed because we just signed shiny things. We signed shiny things because they're going to give us money. We're gonna in terms of marketing. I'm talking about a football club that is run well, like Man City, like Liverpool. You make the right signings, football decisions. You know what I mean? You must not act like you guys have spent zero. That's what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you guys say that you spend zero...
But Celo, you're also taking what I'm saying out of context, and you're saying that I'm saying that, and I've never communicated that. I'm saying the options are very different. Newcastle can decide they're going to go...
I don't know what happened there, Claudio.
Can you guys hear me?
What happened? Yeah, you back.
I hear you now.
I was saying the options are very different. I'm not saying Liverpool have nothing to spend. The difference is Liverpool have to spend wisely. Liverpool don't just spend what they spend. They need to win. They need to perform, make the money. They then see, is it going into the stadium? Is it going to the academy? Is it going here? Okay, then we need to sell off X, Y, Z, put that money in, and then go buy the players. Newcastle don't need to do that
100%.
right now. Man City haven't done that for 10 years. And now they got into the point where they've bought quality. They can afford to sell Jesus for 50 million, Zinchenko for
And
30 million. And all of a sudden the books are balancing. And now last season they're saying, oh, net balance. Look at what Liverpool spent. No.
I know.
It's very
Not
different.
true.
It's a different competition.
It's overtime.
And that's why I'm
overtime,
saying. And that's what's happened now. And you know what? They failed. They have failed because, yes, you know, Liverpool, great business model. Fantastic. But they have failed in a sense because the last dance has come and it's moved past because the aging players have moved on. Klopp squeezed every bit of the juice out of the players. And now we need to rebuild. And the problem is we've been caught with our pants down. And that's where we're at right
Fabinho
now.
must go.
But also the injuries have affected us at the wrong time. What do you say, Fabinho? No, Fabinho's all right, man. Fabinho's, you talk about newborn babies.
Henderson must go. Henderson must go, man.
Yeah, Fabinho's had a newborn baby. I'm telling you, he's not sleeping. But what I can say this, gents, is this isn't much of people are going to say excuses. The injuries have been a real thing. Yes, there's a glaring. Nick constantly speaks about the high line, the midfield. Yes. Konate making his full debut or coming back the other day in the Champions League. Van Dijk looked a different player. Konate is the man to secure things at the back, no doubt. He's come in, he's confident, and we have been sorely missing him. Trent, who's shocking defensively, also looked okay at right back. So that's currently what we need, just to keep a clean sheet and to make sure within the first 20 minutes, for flip's sakes, we don't concede. Because what we've conceded the first goal, I think it's like 14 out of 16 games, ridiculous. And that's psychologically, you can't do it. And I think when we're looking at it and we're saying, well, why are Liverpool doing really well in the Champions League and they're not doing well in the Premier League? It's because the Premier League has been a slow start. So psychologically, they're going, oh, we know the World Cup's coming. We want this break. But the Champions League, we started off fresh, we started off okay, and we're still there to compete, so we can still perform, and it's a big game. There's nothing wrong. You know, it's almost like a small club mentality when you're showing up for the big games, and the smaller games, you're kind of a bit more complacent and you're tired, and you're forcing yourself to try and perform, and that's where they're at right now from a Liverpool perspective. But enough about that. If anyone else wants to add their 2 cents before we move on.
Who's been your most impactful signing at Liverpool?
Oh, dude, I think it's without doubt the boys that came in last are the ones that have the most impact this season because they've played the least amount of games at Liverpool. So you're looking at Diaz came in January, he did the business. Jota came in, he's done the business, and it's your new players, the fresh players. I think the other players, obviously, Fabio Carvalho is getting minutes where he wasn't probably meant to get the minutes he was meant to get. He's a young boy, he's got a lot of potential. When he's on the ball, he's got moments where he looks technically like he's a Coutinho-esque type of player. Obviously, nowhere near that level yet, but he's got real talent. Elliot, there's a lot of talk about Elliot. Is he good enough to play for Liverpool? But he's also still very young. A lot to learn there, and he's very versatile. And the one player who's come back from a Liverpool perspective is Curtis Jones, who, in my mind, is incredibly underrated. He's incredibly technically gifted, and he's actually an attacking player that you find in the academy is playing up front. And now they've asked him to do the role in the midfield. And I think he can do a lot of things. He just needs game time. And now with the injuries, he will get his game time. So that's my mind. That's where I'm at. And also, credit to Klopp. He's managed his 400th game for Liverpool. 400th game. And also, listen to this stat, gents. Klopp is the 7th manager to take charge of 100-plus Champions League games. Only Pep has had more wins in his first 100 games, and that's 61 compared to Klopp's 58. What do you think about that stat when you're comparing the two?
I think with the tools in his toolbox, I think it's freaking amazing. I think obviously we know that Pep is a Czech. Okay, let me not say we know, but I think he's been obviously labeled as a checkbook manager. That he's always had the checkbook open at every club. So I think for Klopp to do that, with FSG obviously tightening the pockets there, I think it's fucking amazing.
Jeez, bro. That was quite a response. Apologies to anyone who's under 18 watching this show.
Hey, it's uncut, boy. It's uncut.
Listen to this guy.
But I will say this.
You said it. The thing is, you said it like 3 times. You're like,
yeah,
I'm not going to say it. But you said it like 3 times.
But anyway, gents, I think the one thing we do need to point out about Jurgen Klopp, though, is that everyone talks about FSG, his purse, his hamstring, whatever. It's all tied. But I think there's a part of Jurgen Klopp that likes the fact. He likes the fact he doesn't spend the same amount of money as the other guys. He's recently come out saying he needs to.
But when he succeeds, that's always that's you feel better that way, like because you've done it with less resources.
Yeah.
But
I
Claudio,
think
do you
to-
not think, for me though, and this might be opening another can of worms, do you not think the excuses are getting a little bit too much? Because have you ever heard, Claudio, have you ever heard Klopp say that we've like come out and said we weren't good enough and I got it wrong?
Yeah, he said that. He normally says when the players fail, it's his responsibility, so he gets it wrong. He has said that. But I think at the
Yeah,
same
he
time,
has,
he
but
has
not
said that.
as, but not as much as there are quite a few excuses though. Do you agree? Like he does complain a lot.
He does.
I think
He's a
it's
whiner.
very important. No, but I think it's very. I mean, if you look at Ferguson, and I think
No,
this is why a lot of
100%. You're right.
yeah,
you're
and I
If
think when
did
you
that
look at like a
comparison,
lot of
you're right.
fans, yeah, I mean Ferguson would never do, and that's why I didn't like Ferguson, and that's why I think the neutral probably doesn't like Klopp. But that's also why Klopp's such a good, and Ferguson was a good manager, and he's a good manager, is because he doesn't
defends his
come out and
players,
say that. He defends his players, and then he has the conversation behind closed doors. He's not a Mourinho or Conte calling out Dele Ali or whoever they're calling out and putting the player on,
Yeah,
serving them
that's
to the
true.
public, saying this
Yeah.
player is not. It's a very different
Yeah.
model.
No,
But
that's a
gents,
fair
we're going to move
argument.
over.
That's a fair argument.
Move over to the. We were going to talk about the World Cup, but we don't have time for that. So we're going to go over to the betting corner predictions. The first game is Chelsea versus Arsenal. A big one there for the Arsenal, the Gunners. We're going to start with Selo. We're going to go Nick and then Wanga. Selo, what do you think is going to happen there?
What game is this, though? I'm just reading Jason's comment there. It's always
Arsenal,
great when
Arsenal,
it's always,
Arsenal and Chelsea.
I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a 1-1 hard-fought game. I think Chelsea will obviously recover post the 4-1 loss to Brighton, so I think it's going to be a 1-1.
1-1.
Yeah, I
Nick?
also think I think there'll be a few more goals than that. I think it will be a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, look, for me, if you guys are doing your fantasy league, don't choose a Chelsea goalkeeper. That's what I can tell you. Arsenal I think, will punish these guys, especially after the beating they got from Brighton. I think I say 3. Let's say we maybe get a mistake in ourselves. So say 3-1 to Arsenal.
Hey, I like these Arsenal fans when they find their voices. You just want the same sort of emotion when you come back on Thursday. I'm going to say a Chelsea win
100%.
2-1 for Chelsea. Next game, Aston Villa versus Man United. Silo.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-0 victory to Man United. Yes, but Good Evening is back. Obviously, I respect him as a manager. I think he obviously was hard done by when he was coaching Arsenal. I think he did very well at Arsenal. And has proven he's done quite well at Villarreal as well, winning the Europa League. He's a proven manager, but I think it's just a game too soon for him because it's his first game. He just only started coaching yesterday, so I think it'll be 2-0 to Man United.
Yeah, I would love to say that Villa are going to get a result to extend our lead on Man United, but Villa are very, very poor, and I do not think he's not going to be able to make miracles in 2-3 days. So, unfortunately, I think it will be a 2-1 win for Man United.
I say Man United win 4-0.
Villa didn't have one shot on target against us, not one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
poor.
My prediction's 3-0 to Man United. Southampton versus Newcastle, Silo.
Oof.
Where's this? Is St. Mary's or
St. Mary's?
St. James's?
St. Mary's.
Oh, St. Mary's. I think it'll be a 2-1 to Newcastle. If it's at St. James's, I would have probably added 2 more goals, but St. Mary's, I'll just give them 2 goals only. So 2-1 to Newcastle.
Thanks, Silo. I don't think we'll concede. I do think we'll win. I think it will be a 2-0 win, and I think Callum Wilson will seal his place in the World Cup squad with a brace.
Oh.
And then get injured.
Nah, easy.
I think Newcastle win 3-0.
Yeah,
sure.
We scored a lot of goals these days.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are
scoring.
scoring.
Man.
Scoring a lot of goals. I'm saying 1-0 victory there for Newcastle.
You know how
Then
professional it is to see Newcastle with a double figure goal difference in the plus. It's normally a double figure minus.
But it's
Steve Bruce things.
We're like at 14 at the moment. I can't believe it. I've never seen that since like Bobby Robson days.
Right, Cyril, Spurs versus Liverpool.
I think you said that Liverpool's obviously playing well in the big games, so I think this is another big game they should play well. So I think 2-1 to Liverpool.
Yeah. I also think Liverpool, this is their type of game. You hit the nail on the head, Celo. They rise to the occasion. I think they're going to score a couple of goals, actually. Spurs, once you open that defence, they look very vulnerable. So I think a 3-1 win. Kane to probably get the goal for Spurs, and then Newcastle to jump into the top 3 with that result.
See how he's making predictions. He's making predictions how Wonga makes predictions. He's
Conditional,
hoping for
yeah,
results there.
yeah.
So Son, guys.
You see?
Son's cracked his cheek. Yeah? So he's out. Son.
I
Yeah, he's out.
He's out of the World Cup.
That's it.
Out of the World Cup, yeah, potentially.
Guys, Timo Werner's out the World Cup today as well. Just
Chilwell.
guys, so many
Pogba.
players, guys. Eh? Pogba,
Kante,
guys.
Varane, Jota, James, Chilwell. Right. Wonga?
Yeah, just to say, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, Son won't be there, so attacking options won't be there. Two midfields are a bit tired, but I think Liverpool will edge it over them.
They literally normally play with
because it's a big game.
Defensive players.
Yeah, so I think what is the right word I want to use? I forgot now, but yeah, I think Liverpool will take this one. I'll say 2-1. Kane to score from the spot. Penalty spot.
Yeah, he's been scoring, I think, so many of those, eh?
Yeah, those are the goals that it's been coming his
Nunes
way. I mean, for
to
me,
score in the league.
I think he will score. I think captain him this weekend. I think he's going to do something there.
Ooh, guys, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm telling you, watch him. Watch him. The player is ridiculously unpredictable.
I've got no Liverpool players, and I don't think I'll add one till next year. Man.
Just keep Nunes in. Nunes. I think he'll do things. I think moving on, you can have a break. But anyway,
the bankers are Man City and Newcastle players. Arsenal used to be, but Jesus hasn't scored in 6 games. So
man, just get
Saliba. It's the first time
ever
I've had 3.
No, I have
Newcastle
Saliba.
players.
I have Saliba, but Jesus had to take him out.
Saka?
No, I have Saka. I have Saka and Saliba. No, Saka.
All right, gents. Anyway,
and
I
Saliba.
was gonna go towards a Liverpool victory, but I mean Liverpool draw. I was actually.
Claudio?
Oh, okay, so it's frozen. Throws me.
I think the Liverpool gods have been said to him, "What? Us draw? Come on! What kind of a fan are you predicting a draw for your own team, man? That's madness."
Zap him.
I can't believe all of us say that Liverpool would win, and he says it's going to be a
Let's say
draw.
draw. Huh?
Yeah,
But look at where we come from. There's doubt in the Liverpool camp.
The only big game they haven't won is against Man United, man. Every other big game they won. They beat Newcastle. They beat Arsenal. Did they play Arsenal yet? Did they play you?
We smacked them. We gave them a hiding. Hey.
Oh, you smacked them. Sorry. They beat Man City, Newcastle. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Liverpool, they're struggling, boy. Nottingham took them out.
What's happening? Sorry.
Are you gonna land this for us, Celo?
Yeah, let me do it. Where's this thing? Oh, guys, these things are tricky. Where's this thing?
We have to go through.
Hide. Sorry. But guys, thank you for tuning in, guys. It's obviously been a longer show than planned, but I think that's just because we just had so much to say. Nick had a lot to say,
2 weeks.
and I think it's because Nick and Wanga are doing so well that we obviously we went longer than an hour. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Tabato, in the comment section. And yeah, catch us next week, guys. Maybe just the final thoughts from you, Wanga, quickly.
And final thoughts. I think we asked them who our best player of the season is, and I think for me currently is Haaland. That's my best player of the season.
Okay, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. And then Nick, you what's your final thought there?
Yeah, I think it's good to be back on the show. You know, there's two weeks left. You know, hopefully we can get
Yo, it's close, huh?
these
Flip.
points. Yeah, and I just wanted to tell you guys that I will be going to, with my significant other, Savannah, we're going to watch Leicester away on Boxing Day, Leeds at home on the 31st. So we'll be celebrating New Year's in Geordieland. And
Oh, lovely.
we'll be watching Arsenal away at the Emirates. So
Oh,
looking forward to a couple of away days. And yeah.
No,
I'll be sure to call you, Nick.
Nick, share some pics,
I will
and
be
videos
sure.
with us while you're that side, man. I think that's freaking amazing, man. And hopefully you enjoy the trip and hopefully you get some victories as well. You know, especially at the Emirates, please, man. Please.
Yeah, Nick,
what's your okay?
Oh
Yeah,
no, sorry.
you
Yeah,
say?
Nick, we're expecting some content there, so we can share it with everyone here. Huh? So you must
100%.
take some clips and share it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What was your prediction for Liverpool and
Claudio,
Spurs?
because that's why you froze.
You
Oh, I was
said
going to say 1-1.
Yeah, that's why you froze. That's why you froze. The Liverpool God said.
Why must we captain Nunes then?
That's
he'll
so
score.
weird, man. One goal's not enough, man. One goal,
Yeah.
you need to give a goal and an assist to be captain. Come on, man. One thing is not enough.
Say
Rather,
2-2 then.
but might as
But
well
Helen's
captain
the fantasy league captain. Helen is the fantasy league captain.
I see what happens when we haven't had a show for a long time. Everyone can talk, yeah? All right, gentlemen, have a good one. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't liked, subscribe, do the right thing. And yes, subscribe and tell your friends, uncles, mothers, brothers, best friend. Hey, Silo.
Yeah,
Stop
tell the whole family.
it.
Stop it.